Hey y'all. So this is just going to be a quick video to follow up on what I just encountered. Hi. So in my personal neighborhood, the Hebrew Israelites came out to share knowledge and I don't know, whatever they're supposed to be doing, right? Which is supposed to be God's work, right? Hold on one second, y'all. No, hold on, y'all. Let me turn it around. Okay, we back. All right, so listen. Basically, the Hebrew Israelites came to, supposedly enlighten the youth, maybe give some information, whatever. So I already noticed that there was maybe 1 or 2 people outside. Wasn't that many people outside with them. I already picked up on the energy from inside of my home. I let it be. I wasn't gonna say nothing. I left them right where they were. Unfortunately, that was not good enough. They did not get enough energy. They didn't get enough attention. Even though they had a big microphone and a big speaker, and they were shouting very loud with all their might, they didn't have enough. So, as I went out of my door to get my groceries, I was approached by a gentleman who wanted to give me a pamphlet and give me some knowledge. And I was excited. And I was like, hey, yeah, thank you so much, I've definitely met some of your brothers, and they were definitely very enlightening. I got some information. I purchased some reading material from them and everything. That wasn't good enough. It was, do you know the Bible? But do you practice the Bible? So I was like, yes, I know the Bible. Yes, whatever he was saying. I've actually studied with Jehovah's Witness. I've become an unbaptized publisher. I grew up Christian, so on and so forth. He heard Christian. You say you're Christian, right? So I'm already seeing what type of energy we're coming with. Ego. Okay. One thing about God's children, one thing about working for God is, unless you have to, you don't have to be loud. All right? That energy will speak for itself. So I was cracking up, at the energy being shouted and directed a certain way, and I just kind of allowed it to happen. And I gave the first gentleman my name, which is my mistake. I forgot about y'all Masons. I forgot about, how close these fraternities, brotherhoods, sisterhoods, and motorcycle gangs is. My bad. I forgot y'all still trying it. So, as I'm bringing my groceries in, the gentleman runs back to his leader on the microphone, and then he reappears. So as they're doing smoke and mirrors, you got one in front of me talking, but nobody want to help me bring my groceries in, by the way. They're just talking to me. So he was like, yeah, man, can you come down here? I said, yes. Can one of y'all come help me bring my groceries in? Right? We forgot about chivalry. We forgot about, all these things that you want to preach, right? Let's bring these groceries in real quick. So I had him bring them to the door, and there's about 4 men now brought down to my door, and I'm like, we didn't need that many. It was just one person worth of groceries. Chill. So since they brought 4 men to my door, I brought out my prophet. I said, son, which one of these has the brightest light, and which one of these has the darkest shadow? He pointed out which was which, and the original man I was speaking with, of course, had the darkest shadow, which I already peeped. Shout out to you, sir. My son told me you look like Drake, and you know what Drake does. And I don't think he meant physically you look like Drake. I think he meant energy-wise. So maybe, choose women in your age range, sir. But I walked over to the man on the microphone. I had already warned the Drake Israelite that you have to be careful pulling people, summoning people, because you never know who those people are. And as an actual representative of God, and as an actual person who sits spiritually where I should, you had the right one. You know what I'm saying? So the gentleman on the microphone proceeds to yell at me and tell me, some information. And this is what I had on. Okay? And he proceeds to tell me, y'all. Hold on, let me make sure I got enough light. Yeah, just the outfit. Just the whole outfit, okay? Covered down to the ankles, right? He proceeds to tell me that I'm not obeying the Bible because I am not dressed modestly. I'm going to repeat that again. I was just told by a Hebrew Israelite that was upset that he had nothing to say, or I guess, you know, he had to pick a certain attack. And the only thing that he could say is that I was not dressed modestly in my oversized 2XL shirt and my leggings down to my ankles while I was coming out of my home to get groceries. Not go to the store, to my front porch. So as the gentleman started talking on that mic, I started looking at his lips and his nose. And I asked God, do I have permission? Of course I do. Because I call judgment. Okay? And it was beautiful to see that this man wants to change his life and deflect and do things the way he wants to now. But I had to let him know, sir, I still am very aware that you're on the down low. He didn't like that. Aw. He did not like the fact that I could see that he has sexual perversion, that he has things and demons that he battles on things that he should not be doing. However, me not being dressed modestly was the topic. It was a good try. It was a very good try. Especially the overshadowing, the overshouting. That was a good try. The beautiful part about it is God had me rest. God always has me rest for moments like this. So I had enough energy and enough, throat chakra, enough heart to speak up for myself and stand there because you're lying. But he was like, I have a whole wife. Yes, you do have a whole beard. Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do. You have a whole beard, and I'm sure, depending on what situation that is, y'all covering for each other. You feel me? So do what you do. But just know to be very careful when you choose to persecute people who are not up for persecution. You know what I'm saying? Because after persecution, what happens next? Resurrection. So, you guys, I thank you. I thank you for always waking a sleeping giant, right? But be very careful who you invite into your aura because they can also see you. I hope he learned his lesson. And if he does not, then his gay or DL lover will be outing him very soon. So, more than likely, he should either come out the closet, be a little bit more honest, or make up a story that at least fits the bill because it's going to come. It's not going to be hidden anymore. Have a great day.